Welcome back to Make It Share It. On this episode, Coop and Lauren and I are going to get to, I think, what we wanted to a few episodes ago and just catch up on what we're actually making and sharing. And we love to interview others and hear their stories. But the podcast really started with us kind of sharing and being a creative group of, hey, here's what I'm working on. What do you guys think? And so we wanted to just give some updates and see what we're learning through that process. So with no further ado, who wants to kick it off and kind of jump into maybe what you're learning? I know, Coop, you have a few things you are working on. Lauren, you have, which is now public, Storied Provisions. So lots that we can talk about.
That's what I want to hear about.
Great.
You want to hear about Storied Provisions?
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Where do you want to update, or from the beginning?
Well, I think from the beginning, just because we've alluded to it, but this will be the first episode where we're saying this is the project.
Yeah.
So I think maybe let's go back to genesis of it. And then now obviously you're beginning to share about it.
Yeah. The genesis of it is pretty unexpected. So I would love to encourage anyone listening. You just never know when your heart is stirred for something and a dream is planted in your heart. You have no idea how it's actually going to work out. So I think it was probably in January of 21. Actually, before that, it was, I feel like it was COVID. September of 2020. It was my friend's 40th birthday. It was 5 years ago, almost exactly. We were in this little town, Bridgeport, Texas, middle of nowhere. We were at this business doing something like for my friend's 40th. It was just, I was really inspired by the faith it took these people starting this business in this kind of dilapidated, old, downtown area that people from the city were wanting to see it revitalized. And so there was incentive for them to start this business there, to have a flagship place there. And then while we were there, they had this large gathering where they invited all these people to come. And we had just basically these tables connected to each other and all these charcuterie boards, which was, it was outside, but also charcuterie boards in 2020 was taking your life in your own hands, but it was fine. No one got sick. And it was out under these lights where they had shut down the street and there was live music, and you're just sitting by, people that drove from Fort Worth, those that drove up from like College Station. And it was just really cool to be in this place with some dear friends, but also other people had no idea who they were, experiencing something together at a table that was the result of God putting a dream in these believers and them that just like faithfully living that out. And so there's something super inspiring about that. Flash forward to January of 21, I was with your wife, Kristen, my friend Rachel Joy. They both started Sparrow Collective in Old Town Louisville. The Lord had put some things on their heart in kind of an, old, somewhat not as dilapidated as Bridgeport.
The building was certainly more dilapidated.
The building was dilapidated.
Yeah.
Dilapidated. And they're like, okay, what does Old Town Louisville need? What do you think? I was telling them the story. I'd driven them through Bridgeport. We were on our way to the river. And they're like, what was it that stirred your heart? What do you think Old Town Louisville needs? I was like, you know what? I would love to visit. If I were to be in Old Town, something that I would love to see there that I would go to is like a little tea room with like this antique store, kind of your old school tea room where you've got it's an antique store, you got found things, some new things, super eclectic, but in the back is this cute tea room where you can get soup, sandwiches, tea, all that. Loved the idea, started dreaming about it. I wanted to call it Storied. So all these things I just started dreaming about, started like looking at different spaces, getting on Pinterest and pinning things that were inspiring or what I would want it to look like. But I was like, I have no business starting a business, and I've never done anything like this. I don't know what it takes. I'm more of a visionary type. I'm not going to be the nuts and bolts person of this is how it happens. I got connected with a couple of people in Old Town And I really was kind of waiting on them. Hey, this is a great idea. We'll invest in it. Let's go. You give us the vision, you give direction. Here you go. And that just didn't happen. And that's okay. And so I just started, praying about it. And there were just some things that happened in the following years that it just wasn't time. And so I, in a sense, folded up that little dream and put it in my back pocket and was like, God, when it's time, I will take it back out. And so it would have been, I think it was January of 23. I was like, okay, I feel like it's time. Actually, January 24, I felt like it was time to pull the dream back out and start taking some steps towards that. And I started actually dreaming with Rachel Joy. I think, Kent, you were always someone that was like, you need to do this. This needs to happen. And I'd shared the idea with all these other people, and they're like, yes, do it. And so sharing it with Rachel Joy, thinking maybe we could put this under Sparrow. And they've got their Restore Women, their job training and production studio, providing jobs for women in difficult circumstances. I was like, what if we have a coffee shop and we attach it here and they can, learn to be baristas and learn all these different things? And it was like, yes. And I sat down with Tammy and Rachel. Tammy is Rachel's mom, also head of HR. Is this correct?
Uh,
I don't
she
know.
definitely has HR. She's
Yes,
operational.
operational,
I don't know her official title. Taxes and
all those
HR,
things.
all those things that are so important for a
Yeah.
creative to have
Yes.
supporting them. Yes.
Yes. And she's fabulous. And so we meet, and it's clear to me that they've already got so much on their plate that God's called them to do. I was like, as much as I want to do this under Sparrow and with my friends, it's not what we're supposed to do. It's not what I'm supposed to do. And so again, folded that little dream, put it in my back pocket. It's like, Lord, when it's time. And so I was enough. So this is our garage top. Like we have an office up here, and underneath this is our actual garage. And so just beneath me, I was refinishing a piece of furniture for my youngest room. And this would have been July or August of 24. Listening to a podcast, John Eldridge talking about how he writes and what inspires him. And he talked about this idea of, I don't want to do things for God, I want to do them with him. And I just started thinking about Storied. It's like, God, I don't want to do this for you. I want to do it with you. So I give up how this looks like, what this is going to look like. I had in my mind, I loved Old Town. I wanted it in Old Town. I wanted it to be in an old building and had lots of great vibes. I was like, if it's not there, that's fine. I just give it to you. And so, I did that. I made some homemade salsa and called my neighbor and said, hey, do you want homemade salsa? She's like, absolutely. Little did I know she had just had like gum surgery. So like salsa was probably the last thing she wanted to eat, but she's a sweet neighbor and was like, yes, I will accept your gift. And so I walk over, and she's at her mom's house, who lives right next door to her, across the street from me. And for whatever reason, I start sharing about Storied. I don't even know why. And I share that I think it's a coffee shop and this. And I see her look at her mom like they've had a conversation about something like this before. And then Sarah, my neighbor, becomes my business partner. And we start on this journey of turning Storied into a real life dream that people can come to and experience. We had two other women that Sarah brought along for the journey that I think made us better in a lot of ways. Haven't joined, stayed with us for the long haul, but are still great, huge cheerleaders. They were a part of bringing Kent in to do story. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we were. I mean, it's creative, so you can kind
Yeah.
of call it whatever. It's more the process of getting people together to collaborate towards a vision.
And so plug for Kent and what he does. He was great. And as we were planning Storied and planning where could it be and all these things, before we could get the where, I wanted to get the, okay, but who are we and the why? And Kent was really good at giving us that vision, which I think was kind of the center of the bullseye for us. And so highly recommend, if you've got a dream, that you are wanting to make a reality. Doing a story script with Kent, I think is super helpful for you to stay on track, because I think you can get, there are all these trails that you can go off on that sound really worthwhile, but aren't what you originally started with. And so, especially as you get more people involved and they have different ideas, but God gave kind of you the dream and the vision, I think really it helps you be more discerning in moving forward and gives you a better target. Brought Ken in and we just rolled from there. And the Lord, it hasn't been easy. We've had speed bumps, but the Lord has just met us each step of the way, provided a space for us to lease. He made some hard things. He put like a 5-year cap on it for us, but it was just a step of faith of God. We believe this is what you've given us to do. And even though it doesn't make sense in a business plan for it to be only 5 years in one spot, we trust you that at the end of 5 years, we will know exactly where we're going from there. So Storied Provisions will be a coffee shop, bakery, and kind of, we call it a mercantile, where you can get a good cup of coffee. You can have a great baked good. I hope eventually some sandwiches, something you can grab and go to. And then the mercantile, where we'll have books, because they're called storied. I feel like we need books for sale, gifts that will kind of be somewhat seasonal, plants and flowers even. So we're just going to be your one-stop shop. If you've got a friend that you're like, shoot, I'm going to lunch with her, I want to grab her something fun, that. Or your husband, it's Father's Day, whatever. So that's kind of the front side of it. But behind the counter, we have a real heart for people that are having a hard time finding employment, gainful employment. Maybe you're aged out of the foster care system. You find yourself, pregnant, unexpected pregnancy, or you're just one of those moms that is in a difficult circumstance that just needs extra help, some job training. So we're going to have that job training element behind the counter, and hopefully we just want to be a place where we're serving the community, and we can be a place where the community can gather and connect with one another. So that's Storied. We're doing renovations right now. Flooring is in right now. They're going to grout tomorrow or Friday. We've got paint on the walls. Hopefully like a soft launch in December, maybe a full on launch in January. So that's, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. There's so many things that Coop and I know want to ask and talk about, but real quick, because I saw this is the reason I'm asking this, but for everybody else, who will supply the coffee? Like, how are y'all going to get, where are you going to get coffee?
Edison
100% on
Coffee.
board. Can't.
Boom.
Okay. Yes. So so Maria Lockard is basically our I don't know her official title, but she's the manager. She's actually running it. And that was an answer to prayer where we were like, we need a champion. So Sarah, she's an attorney. And so as far as nuts and bolts of things, she's helped people incorporate as businesses, write business plans. I was like, thank you, Jesus, for Sarah.
Yep.
But then we were like, but we don't know anything about coffee and running a coffee shop. And we prayed, and the Lord provided Maria. And the Lord went before us in Maria's life to say, hey, I've got a coffee shop waiting for you. So Maria currently works for Edison Coffee. And Edison, that's where I wrote my books, is at Edison Coffee, their shop, in the one that was in Highland Village, and then the one in Flower Mound, and love Jay and Melanie and Edison, the whole Edison family. That's what we drink at home. And so it's really cool. We're going to partner with them. We'll exclusively serve their coffee, and they have a great program for if you want to open a coffee shop and you want to serve really good coffee. If you'll kind of commit to them, they've got a whole program to support you. And I think it's fantastic. And actually, Brooke Ledbetter, who we've had on, she runs that part of it. I believe she's a lead trainer. Yeah. So she's great. So it's fun to see how the Lord is bringing all these different people and like these threads of relationships all together to make something really beautiful.
Amen. All right, Coop, I'll let you jump in, and I have some things too.
No, that's crazy. Well, yeah, I drink Edison too. It's like all I have there. What's funny with the Edison people, which we didn't get into that conversation, that part of Brooke's life as the trainer at Edison, but if I'm not ordering my every other week coffee from Edison, like in a mad dash, and I'm just remembering because I'm kind of can gauge where I am at, I'll ask them in the notes, I'll ask them music questions and they
Nuh-uh.
respond. Whoever packs it responds every single time.
I love
And I
that.
don't know who it is, but
Well,
some
if
of
it,
them are complex and I've
well,
purposefully
yeah.
get into it. Go
I'll
ahead.
just say, yeah, there's a band called Little Image that
Oh,
is
yeah.
I
pretty
didn't know if that
popular
was the
band.
dude. I thought
And Brandon is one of
okay.
the three of Little Image, and he might sometimes be involved. Not all the time because he's touring a large, and he's a dad now of 2 babies, so got a lot going on. But if Brandon gets a hold of those,
Well,
I'm sure he could stick with you.
that's who I was writing it for. I know some of the other ones. I've never met Brandon because they all work
Yeah,
with Chad Copeland.
Yeah.
Producing wise. So they're fun. It's just fun. And
They
my
are.
girls always steal all the stickers and the good
They
lightning
have cool
bolt
stickers.
paper clips. My girls love the lightning bolt paper clips. So they just pillage that
Yes.
box the second it shows up.
Yes.
Cool.
Are you talking about a generic location, like where it is yet
Yes.
or not?
I mean, I will.
Okay.
It's actually by the Village Church on the corner and 747, and that is Browning. So, the village owns all that, and they've got tenants right now, and we are being treated as one of the tenants. The Village Church has no association except that I'm married to the lead pastor. But yeah, they will be right there. We will be open on Sundays. We've contemplated selling really good fried chicken sandwiches on Sundays. If you know where I'm talking about, there is a
Yeah.
purveyor of chicken sandwiches on the corner that's not open on Sundays.
Closed on Sundays.
Closed on Sundays. I'm kind of kidding, but who knows? We've
No,
got a
that's
huge
genius.
kitchen.
Well, that's what everybody
because-
starts craving it. We all know it.
I know. It's on Sundays when you want it. So we're hoping to catch a lot of traffic there. We won't be open in the evenings, but we are open to be rented out in the evenings to kind of help cover costs. So we are a low profit, for profit. And that was part of the reason the village was even open to us being a tenant, was they've got some other spots there that are more mission minded. And so I think that helped us be able to move in. So we're going to be scrappy. That's what we've had to do, is just be scrappy with finances, be scrappy with the space. Like we are doing this not to make a lot of money. If any, I've gotten paid nothing. We've paid towards it, but just to be a blessing to the community on all sides of the counter.
Yeah. So I have a question and a thing of like I don't know, something to think about, like in my own neighborhood right now. Like there's definitely passion projects, small
Yeah.
restaurants right here 2 blocks from my house that I think would fall into the category in stores of what you just said, low profit but for profit, that you have to just almost retrain your thinking to be like, I need to make sure I'm hitting those spots consistently, because the reality is they will go away if you don't.
Yeah.
So we just have to get our coffee there. We need to change our Sunday routine to hit that for lunch, because it's
Yeah.
the kind of things we want. Because no offense, if the giant chicken purveyor on the corner there goes away, second, third, fourth, and fifth chicken purveyor will just pop in there in some capacity. I mean, there's a burger purveyor next to the chicken purveyor, as we're dodging all of our legal ramifications. But Story does not. Story goes,
Yeah.
a place like that that's so special, Story goes away. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's convicting to me right now, to like, what are the 5 places that are within 5
Yeah.
minutes of my house that I'm really taking for granted, and I need to hit them up way
Yeah.
more often.
Yep.
How do you see, okay, so closed at night and available for rent, which I think could
Yeah.
be really cool
Yeah.
and helpful. Everyone's always looking for a space for a team dinner, a team meeting, a whiteboard session or something. What do you see, or do you see like authors speaking in the evenings, or music playing around Christmas, or any of those kind of opportunities?
Yes, definitely. That is something that when I was dreaming about this, I wanted to do like author signings where maybe they're reading from their book, or just people can come and meet their author. And yeah, some musical. That's not all fleshed out yet, but I definitely see that community focused opportunities for people to experience like local artists and authors, but maybe even just a little bit further out of local. I don't know what that looks like, but it's definitely something I would love to see happen. And that's what some of this is, an experiment where we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're going to see what hits and what doesn't. And because this is more of a it's kind of got a nonprofit feel, but it's not nonprofit. But we kind of have to build up to things. We're not going to be like, and here's everything we're offering. It's like, okay, we're moving, we're getting the engine going, we're moving along. And this is where we feel like we're headed. So those are things I want to do. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to work out. We've got some other, places in the area that do live music, and it's probably not going to look like that. And so having to rethink that and be open to kind of just special stuff.
Yeah. I think what's so helpful for things like that, for like the story script that Kent does, is
Yeah.
if you have your why, like why we're doing what we're doing and who we are. Like my old boss was, I always loved the analogy of like, we all are pulling the rope in the same direction. Sometimes it's one person pulling the rope and you just got to know where to pull it. And the more people you bring onto the team, if they don't know where to pull the rope, then they're pulling against you, they're pulling to the side. So as things come up, hey, this is a good idea, this is an opportunity before us. If you have that funnel to go, but here's who we are and here's why we're doing what we're doing. And that
Yep.
seems way outside of it.
Yep.
We're not going to pull the rope that way. And then you
That's
can
right.
pivot. If everyone's pulling together, you can pivot together if something's not working or a major opportunity comes up. But it's not this like we're all spread out pulling the rope, some against some forward, some backwards. I think those are the companies that really struggle because it is hard to know when to zig and when to zag. So I think that's a cool thing. One other thing I would say is there is a huge nostalgia run for our generation right now. And I think the way you were raised could lend to this. Having the freedom to have a multi-use space like that that's doing a lot of cool things and just a space. There's so many things from our childhood that don't exist anymore. And I think that's
Mhm.
what like Fabled has done a good job.
Mhm.
Like even bookstores now are so corporate. They're not fun.
Yeah.
Like having Harry Potter release night on midnight. Those like, yes, we would
Yeah.
totally do those in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Like, so there were just things like that I'm like, hey, you own your own spot. You can start to bring back magical things that meant something to you in your childhood. And again, if it's a low profit kind of thing that you're like, we're doing it to do it because we can. And it's not some corporate decision that has to work in every single market we're in, or we can't do it. And actually, it needs to work significantly to the bottom line, or we're not doing it. It's like you're not constrained by that. And you know your neighborhood and you know your community. You're not in 10 markets that you don't really know. And you can do some really magical one-off, one night a year. They do this at Storied. And that's so worth it and so cool that's kind of stuff gets me excited too. I'm just like, who knows what will happen in that coffee shop, but
Yeah.
it could be really cool.
Yeah. I think we're longing for that. I want it to be the little shop around the corner. I want
Yeah.
it to be the central perk. I want it
Yeah.
to be like hearkening all back to
Just have it
the
fight the big bad
1900s.
fox books,
That's
Yeah.
right,
the
dude. Come on.
overpriced coffees.
That is, I love that movie so much.
Oh, that's so good.
Anyway, yeah, that's what I want. And I think people want that. I was with some young women. Honestly, they're from the UK. And it was kind of fun when I told them this idea, and they're in their early 20s. They're like, if I saw that sign, I would totally be there. I can't do an
I
English
know,
accent.
it feels
And
easier
I'm
than
not
it
even
is
going
to
to
It does
try.
feel easy.
Yeah.
She actually gave me a great idea, something that they do that we're going to do, guys. So sorry. We're going to designate some tables, probably most tables, as laptop free.
Oh, that's
But
bold.
we're going to have spaces where you can have your laptop and you work your little heart out. But for the most part, we want places where people are gathering with other people. My idea was like, okay, you can sit at this table. If there's one of you, you can sit there an hour. If there's two of you, you can sit there 2 hours. If there's three of you, I was like, but I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know how to police that. I don't know how
I was
to
going to say it puts a lot on your customer
It is
service.
a lot. No way.
Yeah.
But with these young things are like, oh, they have these laptop free tables with this neat, pretty sign. I'm like, done. Laptop free tables, because I want that. There were no laptops at Central Park, guys.
True.
Well, I'd also say, and I've seen this from a large coffee establishment. It's a large coffee establishment near my house, but there's only one of them. So it's independent, but huge. Anyway, they have 3-hour Wi-Fi limits. Your Wi-Fi, you get free Wi-Fi. And when you type in the code that's at the register, and it apparently just kicks you off after 3 hours, because the business model there, it can't be that your place becomes known as we never have a place to sit.
Yeah.
And it's
That's what
taken
we're
up
trying to fight against.
by people that are there for 7 to 8 hours because no one works in an office anymore. And they spend an average of $5 to $15 over 8 hours. And it kills your audience coming in and out because they go, I mean, if you go there, it's to get coffee and walk out. It's not to sit, because there's 15,000 graphic designers. And at the same time, shout out, I just totally threw you guys, graphic designers are just waking up like, man, we're just taking shots fired from Coop. But the other thing is now, and I won't go off on a rant, I'll just say it and walk away. I'm going to throw a grenade and leave. The boldness of people now to take video calls with headphones in a public place.
What?
Just have to walk away. We go to Watermark, like in the lobby, and there's like the Watermark coffee shop lobby might average 50 to 70 workers per day that hang out. And it's huge. It's inside, outside, upstairs, hidden around.
And it's a great
chapel.
location.
Great.
I mean, not traffic wise, drives me bonkers, but in terms of your access to different parts of Dallas.
Yes.
100%. You will easily see 10% of them on a call.
Yeah.
Webcam, headphones, laptop, papers out on a desk. And I guess now with noise cancellation and you can blur your background, it doesn't matter to the call, but it's insanity for me, for the community you're with, that you don't want a place that's cool and could be so cool like Storied to be a work from home takeover vibe.
There actually is a place around here that you can do that. What's the name of that? Do you know the name of it?
Well, there's like 3. There's the Success Center that's over, and I think but it's definitely shared workspace, coffee shop meant for what we're describing.
I might even have like little cards that say, feel free to finish your call there.
Because it's real close to where y'all will be. So it's like,
you
can go over there. Yeah.
I think that's hard though in today's world. That's something to think about. Like,
I know
that place by my house, they've obviously,
they've
been thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do we get people out of here?
We almost didn't have Wi-Fi. We're almost like, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like,
idea.
I think we need it. But the 3-hour limit is brilliant. Written down, will be implemented.
It's an idea.
And it says I'll take a picture of the sign and send it to you, but it says something like, and it will kick you off, like with a funny little smiley face. Like, so that's just in the software. As soon as you sign on, 3 hours later, like in a hotel, it's every 24 hours it reboots and you put in your room number. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Well, and this is one of those things people will say, well, okay, you're going to lose all these customers, but I would go up a level and say, from Seth Godin's book, This is Marketing, he writes a lot, so it can be like, where do I even start with Seth Godin? But that book is a place to start. And the whole premise of that book is creating something where you can say, this is for us, meaning the people that are going to be the best customers for Storied Provisions, once they hear this and experience that, they go, oh my gosh, this is my place. This is exactly what I've been looking for, and I can't find it anywhere else.
Yes.
Because all these other places are not for me. So I don't go there. They're waiting for this to come into the neighborhood, and they immediately go, this is for us. And again, the people that need Wi-Fi, that want to sit there for 7 hours, they will know this is not for me.
Yeah.
And you just have to be okay with that. And that actually is good marketing.
Yeah.
Because it's honing in on an ideal customer that needs this and wants this and can't find it right now.
Yeah. It's good.
And the fun part too is you don't limit yourself where Johnny 9 to 5 graphic designer can still come grab a fake Jesus chicken sandwich on Sunday. It can still
Yes.
be his weekend place. You know what I mean? It's just not my
Totally.
work. And I think that's
Yeah.
good.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I've
I
always
think so.
I romanticize owning a bar, owning a music venue, owning a record store. I mean, I can't watch High Fidelity anymore because I love the movie and there's too many of those conversations written in that book by Nick Hornsby that I had with my friends that were music snobs in high school. We were those guys that ran championship vinyl in that movie. But when I'm done watching that movie, I start writing a business plan for opening a record store, and it's not good for me. But I've
Who knows?
always flirted, and coffee is always in that world,
Mhm.
a good place to hang with people. And
Mhm.
I've just, all of those have these, okay, but in today's world, what does that look like? How do you survive for vinyl, for coffee, when
Yeah.
people just try to work there? Like they all have one thing. And
Yeah.
I feel like you can succeed as long as, like what Kent just said, if you choose.
Yes.
If you try to be everything to everybody or try to be both, I don't think it works.
Yeah.
But if
Agreed.
you lean into that identity in your script of who we are and why we're doing this and stick to it, you'll find your people, they'll find you, and you're off and running.
Yep. Yeah, I believe that. One of the spaces that we were hoping for in that area would have been more conducive to a drive-through. And I think it was the Lord saying, no, we'll probably have like little to-go spaces where maybe we bring it out to you or something. But I think because that's not what we're going to be about. We're not going to mainly be you pull through and I mean, if you want to come grab really good coffee, we're going to be serving it and you can come grab it, get back in your car, park conveniently, or we'll bring it to you. But it's going to be about hopefully about connecting over really good coffee.
Well, that's the other weird piece if you're a restaurant or a coffee place. If you do what you do well and you have the good coffee and you have the good snacks, I think the other reality in this weird world is you're going to get DoorDashed a bunch of people wanting
Yeah.
it. They're going to want
Yes.
that coffee and drink combo, but I'm working and I'm not going to get out of my chair to get it. And it only costs me
Yeah.
$7 for someone to bring it to me,
Yeah.
which is
I
that
mean,
weird
guilty.
world. 100%. I do it all day long. That's
Done
why
it.
I'm like, so you do have to think, oh, we're going to need parking
Yeah.
spots for those people, or they'll be double parked with their blinkers on,
Right.
running in and out. How do we set
Yeah.
up a system for that's just a weird, again, this isn't me opening a coffee shop in the 90s that looks like Central Perk. It's
Yeah.
got some nuance to
A
it in
hybrid.
today's world. Yeah. It's interesting.
I think my biggest insight just to talk about is the starting back in 2020
Mm-hmm.
and just, oh, I'm going to put it back in my pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look like this. It's kind of this flea market style, all these different pieces of furniture or tea sets, they have their story to them. And I want to restory them, with new people and new homes, which is a beautiful pitch. And God's like, yeah, close. Just keep going. Put that in your pocket. And then like, okay, no, this makes, and it did. I remember talking about it with Rachel and Kristen and the Sparrow side of things as they were processing it. It's like, oh, there's a lot of this that would make sense. Like where it all just coincides and you think, gosh, this is okay. This is it. And then it's like, after more thought and discussion, like, no, I don't think that's it. I'm going to put it in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And so, and again, any of these spots, along the way are just like, and I'm done. It's just going to stay in the pocket and it's not, it's done. But it was like, no, I'm going to give it to you, Lord. And giving it to the Lord each time you did that could have meant God might have said, and that was it. And it was just meant to get you to the next thing. But he kept being like, no, just now here it is again, all the way to bringing salsa over to Sarah's and to Cindy's. And so or to meet with them. And so it's like and then for whatever reason at that point, it like really clicked over. And it was like, oh, this is actually happening now. There's paint and there's flooring and there's people being hired and like it's happening right when he wanted it to and the way that he wanted it to. And that was a 5-year journey. I mean, fascinating that we're even, like you said, talking about it literally basically like 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's just that is make it, share it. That's the whole heart of the podcast is make it, share it. And some things are not going to turn into even remotely the coffee shop. They're going to turn into something entirely different, which could have been any number of things. It could have been a song, as it goes with you sometimes, that it turned into. It could have been art. It could have been a garden. It could have been whatever. Who knows? But this one did turn into something similar to what you had, although different. And so it's just like, and again, like Coop's, the famous story we started with of the Chainsmokers riff turned into a song, but other things don't turn into a song.
Yeah.
They just turn into the next thing. They turn into a movie. So I don't know. That just is so encouraging and something we just need to all keep in mind.
Yeah.
Thing
So
I've been learning has been, you know, you're saying that like one thing might just lead to the next thing. It might have just opened the door for the next thing, or what you learned you took to a new project. And I feel like my life has been that way in a lot of ways, but lately in the last year or two, mine has been pursuing something I thought I was called to do, thought I was supposed to do, and it did not work. And it's now been on like a 3 in a row kind of thing where I'm looking back at these things, what I was praying for, what I was grateful for, and going, the whole thing was just meeting that person. I was like, that's so it had nothing, man. I really thought it was the thing, and I pushed it hard, and I thought I could be really good at that. And that all might be true or might not. But the whole point was I was supposed to meet this person, and it brought us two together. And now we're working on totally random offshoot different thing 6 months after it that I would have known him without that. So that's another weird piece that God can do there of just like what his purpose for this 1 year, where you might bust your butt for a year, not make a dime, tons of exhaustion, and then it just fizzles out or completely is like, nope, isn't going to happen. Money's gone or whatever's done. And then 6 months later, you're like, well, that was a waste. I blew that one. I don't know how I zigged when I should have zagged or something. I was even confused on some of these. Like, what do I take for the next one to be better from that? Because I really felt like it was good and I was called to do it. And then you look up 6 months later and go, oh, it's just about finding this dude. And now we're partnering on a whole different thing that has nothing to do with anything I've ever done before. So that's a weird thing too, of who he calls together and how, and the purpose for being faithful and following what you're called to do could serve some really weird purposes.
Yeah. You just never know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Coop, what about you? Let's do, I know you had a few things, so whatever you want.
I mean, I didn't say what the pilot thing I was working on this, right? I'm still trying to write a pilot. I know I said it to y'all afterwards, I think.
I think so. So yeah, just assume that you didn't.
I don't want to share the name until it's done. But I told Lauren that's been the thing that's been sliding the most. It's the thing I try to write every Friday, and I have been busy, or the priorities have beat it about 8 Fridays in a row. Kent, in my process of trying to write a TV pilot, I was at like 50, 55 pages, and I'm old school. I print them off, get a red pen, and make changes. And then I go back to final draft and type it in. I'm like, some 20-year-old watching me is like, this dude is nuts. You just do it straight into the document. And I'm like, I know, I don't like reading it on a screen. I like the red on a page.
Yeah.
Go get me a coffee, 20-year-old. I can't, we'll never see eye to eye. But I'm on page 14 of 55, and I have been for like 10 weeks of just editing. Of just like, I haven't read this all the way through in a while. And that sometimes spars on, oh my goodness, I understand now what I'm missing. And it's just been time. But to Lauren's point, I don't tend to forget about projects once I've started them, and I like to finish them. But when you have kids and multiple jobs, if things completely fall away, I kind of take that as a sign to fall away. This is one of those things that slipped to the back, but I'm going to finish it one day. And like your timetable, it might be 5 years from now when the kids are leaving to go to college, but it's like, I have to finish this one, and it'll get finished one day and shared one day. Other things in my life right now, I've been like, I'm not pursuing that. And I'm almost putting it more on the Lord of like, you're going to have to bring this one back with a thunder, or I'm going to kind of purge it from my to-do list, purge it from my mental to-do list. just to feel the relief of it leaving a to-do list, because I love marking something off a to-do list. I'll put something on the to-do list sometimes just to mark it off, like make
Same.
coffee today. And you're like, I make coffee every day. That's not an accomplishment.
that's
Like
it. Yeah.
breathe, done, put shoes on, nailed it, marking them off. It's like, how stupid is that? Just to feel accomplishment.
Feels good though.
Feels
It
it's
does.
the dopamine addiction that I am all for. It's the
Yeah.
most productive dopamine addiction you could get. Getting
True.
a buzz from marking off a to-do list. So if you want to get into
Yep.
something, do that.
Yep.
Movie project stuff from the music side come out in October. And so I'm allowed to talk after that, according to I will have fulfilled all my lawyeristic duties. That was a weird word. Although, Kent, you were on the ride and I saw it and it was
I was going to
red
talk about
now.
that. So I
And
wasn't even going to go that far, but if people want to now start to follow breadcrumbs, they can.
the music was in there.
So I told Chris, I was like, I wonder, is this the old or the new?
It's the new.
If they had switched it. Oh my
They
gosh.
switched it when they switched the colors.
Okay.
Which might be the coolest thing that's ever been accomplished.
That's
for
amazing.
mine. We need
the
to
ride
hang
was
out
amazing.
in a place where we have a stereo so I can show you what I did, because it is
Yes, we do.
very small and very niche. And it's a very funny thing to say, because it's not like those are my background vocals, or do you hear the guitar? That's me. No. It's do you hear the thing that kind of sounds like a chainsaw that lasts like 3 seconds? That's me. So it's a very funny
It's amazing.
conversation. I did get to just see them live when they came through and hang out a little bit. So that was kind of fun. They've been very nice to me as a small part of the family. But man,
And to make
Yeah.
you feel better about even the breadcrumbs we've left here, I'll probably launch this after
Perfect.
this
Yeah, that's in
thing
a couple
launches for this episode. So we'll even be even better. But yeah.
even safer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I have absolutely nothing on the books right now, music wise. But this is always, everything is usually like 3 or 4 months out. And so this is the time that gets quiet because no one wants to do anything in December.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone in December. But it is the fun time in like October, November where something just pops up. And it's always one thing that leads to another. And this last project is not out yet in any capacity. Well, there's a single or two, but the album is out, but no one knows. Let's just say that. And that's what always leads to the next job. So things need to be more out and for longer. And the movie needs to come out before things really explode. And then hopefully I just get one phone call and they say, do you want to come work on something in May? And you're like, you betcha. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out job stuff. I'm doing way too many jobs. Way too many. It's so stupid. I switched accountants last year and she was real funny. When we were doing our taxes for the first year with her, she called me. She was like, hey, I just got to yours. I'm going through everything. Do you have 8 jobs? And I go, yes. And she goes, I just wanted to make sure we're not like doing your last 3 years of taxes or anything. Like we had never talked about that. I was like, no.
All this year.
That's this year. And she
Or
was
this
like,
past year. Yeah.
okay. And now I'm feeling that. She tried to warn me last year by like, that doesn't sound good.
lot.
And this year, a couple of them have turned into more things. Some were for sweat equity. So I'm not really getting paid in the normal way. And I'm just like a lot of prayer about what do I let go? What do I cut loose? What do I lean into? And my desire that I'm trying to pursue, if this is just my own lazy bias or what I'm supposed to do or would be healthier for me, is, oh my goodness, what would it look like if I had one job that I could just pour everything into? And every day when I woke up, I had a job that I knew what I was doing. And I was going to spend all day on that with a team of whoever and wherever. I would love that so much that I've just been praying a lot of like, yeah, but is that me? Am I just, that's not what I'm ever supposed to do? And that's just what I'm wanting. If so, I got to figure out what that one thing is. If not, I can't do 8. So maybe we meet in the middle you know, in the words of Diamond Rio, I'll meet you in the
You
middle.
start walking your way.
I'm so glad you know that reference. You looked at me deadpan, and I was like, how does Lauren not know Diamond Rio?
Near that
So
old
good.
Georgia pine. Is that
So
it?
good. How do I know? Oh, I know that song because it came out around the time I was at Texas Tech. And so I learned a lot of country in my 6 months living in Lubbock,
lot.
Texas. I had no choice.
This
So yeah,
is
that's
not a
kind of where
thus
I'm at.
this is not a thus saith the Lord, but I just don't see you doing one thing.
I know.
Agreed.
I think I'll always have
What do you
hobbies.
think,
I agree.
I think I'll always have hobbies, which a lot of these
Yeah.
hobbies, that's my problem. As I get older, I'm better about turning hobbies into something that might be a job.
Like, yeah.
And I'm like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just reduce it.
I
Instead
need
of
to
like
reduce.
8 to
cut it in
3.
half.
I do. I
Yeah.
need to cut down. The hard part is some that pay, some that are
Yeah.
equity. And I have a good friend that's a business partner that's much older, much way better at business. And he's like, you can't eat paper, is what he says all the time, which means equity, like the equity.
Yeah.
And so he's always like, man, he's just been around too much and too many things, invested in and started that never turned into a dollar.
Materialize. Yeah.
And that's been becoming more of a realization for me lately. I'm like, you know what? If I'm honest, if I was looking at this and it was Kent doing this and I knew everything about it that I know about this one, could I say, dude, yes, it has these potential. Yes, it could be this. And yes, it could be your retirement. And it could also be nothing, and the odds are it's going to be nothing. And so I'm trying to see more things through that lens instead of just going for the hope of what it could be. But I'm not good at that. I'm not good at figuring that out early. So, but I'm starting to get to a breaking point where I am too full, I am a little run down, and I'm like, okay, let's kill a couple of these off.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wouldn't complain. Having fun.
Good.
Yeah.
What about you, Kent?
Yeah. I'll try to keep this condensed. I mean, I think the two biggest things are One Night in a Thousand Years feature and a story I'm working on that I need to ask offline. I'd love to ask you guys feedback on where I feel stuck with my other story. But on the one night front, was just in Disney, and which we were kind of alluding to. And it was so interesting because you're in that space. I'd watched a little documentary about Walt Disney called One Man's Dream.
Mhm.
That's there. So certainly a big make it, share it little doc for sure, because it's all the kind of roadblocks he faced, just even getting to the point of creating Mickey Mouse, much less Snow White, much less Disneyland and Disney World. I was thinking about those types of things, was in the hotel room the last night, just trying to get all my thoughts down of like, okay, what have I learned? What do I need to remember? And on your, if you're an Apple user in iOS with photos, it'll say like, oh, this was 2 years ago, or this was 3 years ago on this day or whatever. Well, mine that like popped up, I'm just sitting there writing and it pops up from 2 years ago. This day is a scene from the little video we shot for the audiobook trailer for One Night, 1,000 Years. It's a sword by a fire in the ground at night. And I was like, okay, I will keep going. And that's how One Night in a Thousand Years just continues to be. It has certainly not worked financially at all, not even in the slightest. But it's so far, it's just been like, keep doing it, keep going, keep telling the story, keep getting it out there. And again, that may be because the feature film is coming. It may be because it leads to another film, or it leads to another project. Like we've been saying a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean it's that project specifically. Who knows? But it was just such a cool confirmation to keep going. So I was thankful for that. And then we have had a lot of progress lately. We've got somebody kind of representing us and starting to help us get some strategic things done behind the scenes. Had some good meetings in Austin with people that could certainly help make the movie and all the different ways that they work in the industry. So that was great. And So, we're seeing a couple Fridays from now, we'll go to Waco to do a next draft of the script with Craig. So we're just working the script, trying to like really, in all the best ways, beat it up to make every scene really good, strong. And then we'll move to, probably what we'll do is move to going to casting director and try to get talent attached. Who knows what ends up happening, but the goal would be to get some talent attached and then to go to investors with that and just try to get the ball rolling for 2026. Like if we could go into production in 2026, that would be amazing. That's kind of our goal right now. So like Coop was saying earlier, in all of the industries we work in these spaces, we've, things just die out in December all the way to at least mid to late January. So we won't go out with the script until then for sure. So we've got time to really work it. We'll do a table read. I think we're going to do that actually with some of the SMU theater students after this next draft, which will be big because in writing a script, it's so good to have actors just read it and we can kind of see like, oh, this is slowing down, pacing's off here, not enough conflict in the scene. I don't know what this actor wants right now. Just all these different things that are way in the details that you just can't really get until someone acts it out. We'll be doing all of that. So that's probably awesome. The biggest lift right now is just trying to make an independent feature film. So yeah, it's hard, but it's fun.
So we can end with this. I had that might wrap it up and be inspirational on that note. I went and saw John Cleese from Monty Python at Majestic Theater speak, and we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail with a crowd.
Good. That's awesome.
Which is just amazing and so funny from the beginning. The way they did the credits at the beginning and everything is just like we're all dying laughing. And the movie's 50 years old. And it was just inspirational. Like they had a BBC TV show putting out comedy sketches. It's doing okay in London. They can't get anyone else to watch it. And they're basically being told, if you can't get this to America, it's going to be short-lived. No one in America would take anything Monty Python. LA, New York, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, no one. PBS station started playing it in Dallas, Texas.
No.
So that's why they love Dallas. They still have a relationship with that guy who saw it and went hilarious. So then they wanted to make movies. And they wanted to make independent movies, and they made Monty Python for $250,000. And they did it in Scotland. And so even in those days, that was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
No one would pay for it. So one of their managers said, hey, I was just talking to my other manager buddy. He manages all these rock bands. And they had a UK tax law, which I want us to bring back in America, that artists make all this money when they go on the road, on the tour. That's like, they would make a big chunk of money in one calendar year that they'd have to pay a lot of taxes on. And they could do a tax write-off against their tour if they invested in the arts. So instead of these bands writing a big old check to the government, they could take 30% of that and go fund other arts. They learned about this, so they just started calling all the bands that were on tour. So who financed Monty Python and the Holy Grail was Led Zeppelin, Genesis, Elton John. Like they all chipped in and paid for it.
No.
Wow.
So it was that some musicians, other creatives made Monty Python and the Holy Grail work. Then later, when it came time for Life of Brian, that law was gone. But they said the only people that have ever gotten us were other creatives. Mm-hmm. So they just started sending it to their friends. They started sharing it before it was a thing. How do we get this made? He gets a call the day after he sent the script for Life of Brian to George Harrison of the Beatles. And George says, how much does it cost? And there was like $300 and something thousand. He's like, done. I'll pay for the whole thing. Consider it done. And he goes, why in the world would you do this? He goes, because I read the script last night. Now I want to see the movie. And so I don't know. That was it brought back, that's why we share things before they're done. That's why we bring in other creatives. It's hard to get anything done anymore at any level. It was true 50 years ago, even with a script and a comedy group so good that 50 years later, they're selling out theaters just to watch the movie they own at home.
Yeah.
So it also doesn't mean it's a knock on your product, on your content, if it's hard to get out. things are hard to get made. But then he did say one thing, Kent, that really blew my mind. And this was a little bit of a downer, but also back to what we always talk about not bringing in the audience, who the audience is early in the process of writing. It really messes you up. Because this guy, John Cleese, has been in movies for 50 years. He was in the James Bond movies and Fish Called Wanda and all these things that he's done. And he was like, movies stopped being funny in the 2000s when they realized that Asia is your biggest market outside of the United States. So it has to play in the Philippines and in Korea. And they love everything about our movies except humor. They don't get sarcasm. They don't get our nuance. They don't get British humor for sure, like very dry humor. They don't get it. So we take those characters out of the James Bond movies. Because that's the part that they don't like. And if they don't hit there, movies are so expensive now, you can't make your money back. You have to provide a market overseas. So even just the really dumb Billy Madison comedies are hard to do and have been for the last 15 years because you're not going to make your money on the Asian markets.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what a weird thing. So imagine if you're doing your movie, One Night in a Thousand Years, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool. How do we make this play in Asia? And you're like, I don't know if it does. I never thought about that. That's
this is where I feel so good about the independent side is I'm going to go, I don't care because it's not for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they end up liking it, great.
Awesome.
But I'm making it for a person.
That's right.
And yeah, so that's the beauty of independent wide. Unless we just got some ridiculous deal, I don't think we'd ever just sell to a large studio where you would just lose all the creative and that kind of stuff would end up making the final product. So,
but hearing that Monty Python couldn't break into America and hearing that no one would finance their movies, and then even after they had a successful one, no one wanted to touch Life of Brian, you're just like, I mean, that's okay. It's not meant to be easy. These things are hard to do and have been for 50 years.
Yeah, agreed.
So keep fighting the good fight.
Right.
Yep. Well, good. Well, as always, we could probably talk forever, but we'll keep the podcast to a reasonable time length. And I know we have other things to do today. So thanks, guys, for giving us the updates. And I'll put some links in to, especially to Storied Provisions and the Instagram. Is that the best place, or I'm sure Facebook, like social?
Yeah. Probably Instagram, but we're trying to build all that right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Early on. So great. Well, we'll do that. And thanks, guys, for tuning in and keep making and sharing. We'll see you next time.